Standing in at 6'5" and weighing at least 300 pounds, this is an original Xbox in-store kiosk. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you'll know that I'm a massive fan of the original Xbox. And this thing is just awesome. Starting at the top, you have a big, green, original Xbox logo with 2 speakers on either side of it, green lights all up and down this thing, and a giant X at the bottom to let you know that you're playing on an original Xbox. Now, as I said, this thing is pretty awesome as it is, but I want to turn this into the ultimate original Xbox kiosk. I'm Big Green Gaming, let's get started. One of the key things we're going to have to ask ourselves as we're building this ultimate Xbox kiosk is how true or authentic to what would normally be on these kiosks in a store do we want to be. For example, these would normally have a CRT with them. Do we want to roll with a CRT, or do we want to upgrade for something more modern? What about the console itself? Do we want to just stick a stock Xbox in there and a demo disc and call it a day? Or do we want something that'll be a little bit more enjoyable in a day-to-day experience? But before we get into all that, let's talk controllers. When most people think of the original Xbox, you probably think of the S controller. This is what came bundled with the console in its later iterations, starting in 2003 across North America, but it's the controller that launched with the console in Japan. And it's very comfortable, and you can clearly see its hallmarks and features in the 360 controller, the Xbox One controller, then eventually in the Series X controller. But we aren't going to use the S controller on this kiosk. We're going to use none other than the Duke controller. I've talked about this controller before in my other videos, and it's no secret that I'm a massive fan of this thing. For starters, it's absolutely gigantic and looks so incredibly different from any other controller at the time. I mean, here's a PS2 and a GameCube controller for size comparison. And you can see what I mean, just a big size difference. Plus, I love how prominently it features the Xbox logo. This controller also feels super ergonomic, with the face buttons being at a nice angle so you don't have to really extend and reach for them like you might on a PS2 controller. It also feels substantial, which kind of coincides with the feeling that Microsoft was trying to convey with the Xbox. You are playing on the most powerful console to date. So here we have not one, but 2 Duke controllers that fit super nicely on this kiosk. Truth be told, I could probably get the S controller to fit on this kiosk as well, but the gap on the memory ports for the S controller, which the kiosk uses to hold on to the controllers, is just slightly wider than the gap on the Duke controllers, making it a bit of a harder fit for the S controller. So the Duke controllers slide on super nice and easily without much issue, which allows me to lift it off for more comfortable play, and most importantly keeps the kiosk's arms intact and doesn't really make me stretch or force them. Okay, let's play a quick round of Name It. What's the most important thing a Xbox kiosk does? A. Play video games. B. Play movies. C. Give PowerPoint presentations. D. Manage your finances. So that was an easy one. The most important thing is for it to play video games. And to do that, we're going to need an Xbox. Now we have to pick the console that we're going to put in this kiosk. On my left, your right, I have a stock original Xbox, and it's probably as close to original to this kiosk as we can possibly get. Not a whole lot special about it, you just stick a disc in there and it plays. In the middle here, I have this Halo limited edition green translucent Xbox with a black emblem that would look awesome in this kiosk, but I'm partial to this guy over here. Now at first glance, this looks like just another stock Xbox, but this is a hard modded Xbox with a 2 terabyte drive that'll let us burn original Xbox games to the hard drive, play directly off of them, load emulators on this, and truly make this not only the ultimate original Xbox experience, but the ultimate gaming experience. As I mentioned earlier, this whole unit would have normally came with a CRT television. Now, here's the issue. You can still get a CRT, but they're big, heavy, and quickly increasing in price due to them being really good for retro gaming. And, well, they don't normally have high definition picture quality. Now, for some of you that might seem strange. HD picture quality, Big Green, this is a gaming console from 2001, and, well, you'd be right. But the original Xbox had a plethora of games that could not only play in 720p, but some that could also play in 1080i. So HD really is the way to go. Now we still need to choose what kind of display to put in here. CRTs look good for retro gaming, but we really want that HD power. Well, HD CRTs were definitely around when this kiosk was in its heyday, but you gotta remember that this kiosk almost certainly wouldn't have had one of those, as they were pretty expensive at the time, and wouldn't have been necessary for the average consumer who was walking around a GameStop or a Walmart and stopped to play one of these. However, we are not the original consumer. In fact, this will be the primary way we play Xbox going forward. Now look, HD CRTs are still really expensive, so we're not going to go that route. Instead, we're going to go with a run-of-the-mill 24-inch HD television with component inputs. This will give us crisp picture quality and will take advantage of the HD capabilities of the original Xbox. This kiosk has two places where posters can be added. In front, which without a poster displays an original Xbox logo, and the back, which displays a picture of the console as well as a controller. Since this is going to be against a wall, we'll only worry about the front-facing poster. And here's a poster for this kiosk, a Project Gotham racing poster. Now, I'd love to find more of these posters online, but they are somewhat rare. I did find one seller on eBay who had several of them, but they wanted $300 a piece for them, which is a lot to pay for a piece of paper. Unfortunately, because of the odd dimensions of this poster, which is rather large on top and shorter on the bottom, it's not easy to find the posters that fit this mold. But this Project Gotham Racing poster is awesome, so we'll roll with that. As mentioned, this is going to be where we play the majority of the original Xbox's library going forward, which means we need to have a ton of really good games, and most importantly, really good Xbox exclusives. So let's get to burning some of those to the hard drive, starting with Halo and Halo 2. Now let's do Conker's Bad Fur Day Live and Reloaded, Grab by the Ghoulies, Ninja Gaiden, NFL Fever, Forza Motorsport, and Project Gotham Racing to match your poster. The original Xbox also had some awesome third-party titles that I want to put on here, including PacMan World 2, The Simpsons Hit and Run, and because I'm a big football fan, we're going to put NFL Street 2 and EA Sports Arena Football on here. Just like Sony and Nintendo, Microsoft had its own magazine for the original Xbox. These are a very fun read, and it's a blast reading reviews about some of my favorite games, and learning about what the thinking was at this time for this totally new concept called Xbox Live. What I always love about these magazines is their advertising. They just always seem to have a cool edge to them. If you want to learn more about advertising from this era, feel free to click on the video that just popped up on your screen. But what's coolest about these magazines is that every single issue came bundled with a demo disc, meaning you could read reviews or previews of upcoming games and immediately put the disc into your Xbox to try those games out. Just a totally unique concept that is somewhat forgotten in time, because demos aren't really a thing anymore and neither are gaming magazines outside of a few exceptions. These demo discs are also cool because they often included patches for your Xbox and games, so if you didn't have an Xbox Live connection, you could just get updates this way. So let's go ahead and mount the magazines and demo discs to the side of the kiosk. We'll be using this double-sided Velcro tape which peels off nice and easily without leaving a ton of residue, and this pretty cheap magazine holder that I found on Amazon. Now we're at the point where we're putting the final touches on this kiosk. Because this would have normally been put in a store, I think it only makes sense to attach a few accessories to this thing. So let's do exactly that. I have two sealed accessories that I'm going to put on here, an Xbox Live Communicator Kit and a DVD Playback Kit, which will fit very well in this kiosk due to the sticker in the system tray advertising it. So for our second to final improvement, you'll notice how it says in the sticker in the system tray to pull the tab below for accessory info. And we have this really cool accessories label. This is something that is somewhat on the rare side and isn't all that common on these kiosks. It is still official because there are kiosks out there with this tab on it, but they are few and far in between. So I want to make good use of this so it feels like more of an authentic experience. So I bought these brochures off of eBay that will fit nicely, and it talks at length about the original Xbox's accessories, so this is just a great fit. Once again, I'll be using this double-sided Velcro tape and a smaller version of the magazine rack that will fit these brochures nicely. And they can now be accessed by just giving them a pull from underneath the kiosk. So now we're close to having this thing all decked out. Magazines, posters, brochures, a nice TV, a great Xbox loaded with tons of games. But I still don't think this is authentic enough. Because when these things sat in a GameStop or a Target or wherever, they didn't have access to full games. Instead, they'd be playing these special kiosk discs that were shipped directly to the stores and would demo upcoming games, have exclusive videos, and really go out of its way to sell you on the original Xbox. And just like that, we've assembled the ultimate original Xbox kiosk. Take care, stay safe, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Now I've got some Xbox to play.